As I make this video, we're about a month away from Apple releasing the latest version of watchOS, which will come with a bunch of new features. But your watch can do a lot right now, and I reckon most watch owners don't know half of what their watch can do. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video, 12 watch tips that I think most watch owners don't know. Okay, let's get into it. Your Apple Watch can use Find My to let you know very quickly if you've left your phone behind, which could be really useful if you're out drinking at a bar, for example. You grab your coat at the end of the night and go to leave, but accidentally leave your phone behind. The way that you would set this up is on your watch, you would tap the digital crown on the right-hand side to go to your apps and choose Find Devices. This will list all of the devices associated with your Apple ID that are on the Find My network. Scroll through and tap on the device that you'd like to ensure this is enabled for. You'll see some information about the device, including its current location, and if you scroll down underneath notifications, there is an option called Notify when left behind. Ensure that this is switched on. Also, if you tap into this, you can see down at the bottom of the screen, there is an Accept At option, where you can add a trusted location for this particular device. So for example, mine won't ping if I leave my iPhone at home, but it would let me know if I leave it anywhere else. As good as your Apple Watch is, it isn't a particularly good advice when it comes to email. The screen makes it really difficult to properly read lengthy emails and attachments, and whilst dictation can get you out of a bind if you need to quickly reply to something, it's not the best. I think a better way of dealing with your email is to quickly glance at emails when they arrive on your watch and then come back to them later on your iPhone, iPad, or Mac. One way that you could do this is to swipe from right to left on an email in your inbox and hit the flag button. This will then flag that email and you can access your flagged emails later on your device. But there is an even better way to do this, and that's to tap and hold on the digital crown with an email open and use your voice assistant to say, "Remind me about this." You can even add a specific time if you wish, like remind me about this at 6 p.m. or remind me about this tomorrow. Siri will not only add a reminder to your reminders list, it will do so with a link back to that particular email. And you can access this on all of your connected devices, meaning that when you get back to your computer or your iPhone later, it's really quick and easy for you to get back to the email that you need to action. You can even do this from the News app and from Messages, and you're going to have to decide just how useful that is to you, but it's a pretty cool feature nonetheless. By far, the quickest way to set a timer when using your Apple Watch is to simply hold the digital crown on the right-hand side until Siri appears. Then you would simply say the amount of time that you want the timer to run for. You don't have to say things like set a timer or even 10-minute timer. You literally just say the words 10 minutes if you want to set a timer for 10 minutes, for example. However, if you want to run multiple timers at the same time, you will need to add a bit of context when you do this. So let's say, for example, that you're cooking a meal. Maybe you're cooking beef on a slow cook and you're cooking potatoes with it. If you wanted to set a timer to monitor the beef cooking for an hour, you would access your voice assistant and say 1 hour beef timer. If you wanted to time the potatoes for 45 minutes, you would do the same thing, but say 45-minute potato timer. If you then want to see all of your timers together to get an idea of what's going on, you would again press and hold the digital crown to access your voice assistant and say open timer. This will open the timer app on your watch and you can see all of the timers that you currently have running. I'm sure you already know that your watch has a Maps feature just like your iPhone, and you know that you can use the Maps app on your watch to get turn-by-turn navigation, which is really useful if you're walking somewhere. But did you know about haptic feedback? So to enable this on your phone, go to the Watch app, choose Maps, and then ensure that turn alerts are enabled for whatever you want. I have this disabled for driving and driving with CarPlay, and I only use this for walking and cycling. You set it up how you like. So let's say that you've got a route on the Maps app on your watch and you're beginning to walk to your destination. What most people do is they constantly glance at their watch to see what the next turn is going to be to make sure that they don't miss it. But your watch lets you know when you need to make a turn by buzzing on your wrist. If you need to make a left turn, your watch will vibrate with 2 taps 3 times in a row. If you need to turn right, your watch will buzz 12 times. And when you arrive at your destination, your watch will give 1 long vibration. It might all sound a bit weird, but trust me, once you get used to this and you can remember which feeling represents which turn, you get really good at being able to follow the instructions that your watch is giving you without even having to look at your watch screen. I love my Apple Watch because of all the amazing health tracking features that it has, and something else I've been loving recently is my Lumen. Big thanks to Lumen for sponsoring this video. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs and gives you tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, workouts, sleep, and even stress management. Oh, and yes, the app syncs with the Apple Health app. All you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning and you'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fat or carbs. Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. The way that I use it is I breathe into it before and after workouts and meals, so I know exactly what's going on in my body in real time, and then Lumen gives me the tips to keep me on top of my health. Your metabolism is your body's engine. It's how your body turns the food that you eat into fuel that keeps you going. And because your metabolism is at the center of everything that your body does, optimal metabolic health translates to real benefits like easier weight management, improved energy levels, better fitness results, better sleep, etc. So if you'd like to take the next step in improving your health, go to lumen.me/honesttech to get 15% off your Lumen. That's lumen.me/honesttech for 15% off your purchase. If you live in a part of the world where it's supported, and if your bank supports it, I believe that Apple Pay is one of the most convenient ways to pay for things when you're out and about. I'm at the point now where I pretty much don't take my wallet with me anywhere. I just pay for everything using my iPhone. But remember, you can do the same thing with your Apple Watch. If you haven't already set this up, the way that you would do so is you would open the Watch app on your iPhone and you would scroll down until you get to Wallet and Apple Pay. Tap into here and then use the Add Card button to follow the steps for adding your bank cards to your Apple Watch. Note that if you have your bank cards connected to your iPhone, this isn't the same as having them connected to your watch. You have to do this on a per device basis. And if you own a couple of Apple Watches, you'll need to do this for both of the watches. Once you've done this, next time you're at a payment reader, you can simply double tap the side button to access Apple Pay. Your default card will appear, and you can use the digital crown to move up and down to choose between different cards. Also, under the transaction default section, you can choose which card you'd like to have as the default card that appears each time. So if there's one that you use for 90% of your transactions, I would set that up as your default card. If you have a card that you want to use for paying for travel, you can choose that in the Express Travel card. For example, here in the UK, in London, you can simply tap your iPhone or watch without having to access your wallet, and you would set that card up here. Okay, I'll admit this next tip is kind of niche, but let me tell you about it, and then you can see whether this would be something that you might find useful. I was talking the other day to a friend of mine who's renovating their house, and as part of that, they're trying to figure out what all of the different electrical circuits in their breaker box are responsible for. The way that they were doing this is, in my opinion, really clever. He'd taken his phone and propped it somewhere so that the camera on the rear was facing the light in a part of the house. He was then going onto his Apple Watch and scrolling down and choosing camera remote. This creates a remote connection between your Apple Watch and your iPhone with a live preview of what the camera is seeing on your watch. The cool thing about this is, although it's designed to be used in very close proximity, you can get quite a bit of distance between you wearing your watch and your iPhone. So my friend was then going to the breaker box, flicking switches and watching the preview on his watch to figure out which one impacted which circuit. I've even heard of some people using this as a temporary short-term baby monitor. Clearly, it's going to use up battery on both of your devices pretty quickly, so I wouldn't recommend using this for long periods of time, but keep it in mind, this might be useful to you in the future. Your watch can help you identify a song in the same way that your iPhone can using the Shazam app. You access it by pressing and holding the digital crown and asking, "What song is this?" Then hold your watch where it can hear the music. Your watch will listen for a moment, then hopefully identify the song. By default, there isn't a Shazam app built into your watch as such. It's just the functionality of Shazam. So it can identify songs, but you can't see your past identification history like you can on the iPhone. However, the two are synced, so if you want to go back and see songs that you've identified using your watch, you can do that by accessing Shazam on your iPhone and it will show in there. You can also download the Shazam app from the App Store if you wish. The main reason why I think you might want to do this is because you can then access it without having to access your voice assistant first. You would simply open the app from the app launcher on your watch, or you can even add it as a complication. Then all you need to do is tap the complication when you want to identify some music. You might have noticed that when you're in an app on your Apple Watch, if you swipe down from the top of the screen, you won't be able to access your notifications like you could if you do this from the main watch screen. Well, this isn't technically true. You can. There is just a slightly different way of doing this. So from within an app, instead of swiping down from the top, you would just tap and hold at the top for just a second and then swipe down. You can then view all of your notifications over the top of the app that you're viewing, just like normal. And once you've cleared them, you'll be taken right back to the app that you were viewing. I was showing a friend of mine the other day that you can use your iPhone as a remote control for your Apple TV. The feature, in case you're interested, is in the control center on your iPhone. It's called Remote. Once you've added it, you can use it in the control center and get all the functionality of the regular Apple TV remote control on your iPhone. My friend thought this was pretty impressive, but he commented that it would make even more sense if you could do this on your Apple Watch. Well, you can. The difference is you don't access it from the control center on your watch. It's a dedicated app, but it should already be installed on your Apple Watch. If it isn't, you can get it for free from the App Store. Press the digital crown on the right-hand side to access your app menu and choose Remote. If you have more than one Apple TV box, you can choose the one that you want to operate from here. Now, the experience isn't as good here as it is on the iPhone, but it's not bad. Use the center part of your watch screen to swipe up and down, left and right, and you tap in the center to select something. You have a play pause button down at the bottom left, a back button in the center at the bottom, which is kind of a pain because I found myself tapping this accidentally quite a lot, and a TV button down at the bottom right that will take you back to your TV home screen. By the way, if you prefer to have content like this in a written format, there's a PDF version of this video complete with screenshots, and you can access it along with all other PDFs I've created, plus future ones, for just $5 a month, or by itself as a one-time payment. You can either scan the QR code that you can see on screen, or follow the link in the description of this video to learn more. If you're anything like me, the number one feature that you're hoping to see on an upcoming MacBook Pro upgrade is the inclusion of Face ID. Touch ID is great, but Face ID would be even better. Until that time, there is a close second, in my opinion, so long as you own an Apple Watch, and that's the ability to unlock your Mac using the watch that you wear on your wrist. To do this, go to Settings on your Mac and choose Touch ID and Password on the left-hand side. Scroll down to the bottom and any Apple Watches that you've associated with your account will be shown here. Use the toggle to enable the function for that particular watch and confirm using your Mac's password. Once you've done this, all you need to do, rather than using Touch ID or inputting your password each time that you try to unlock your Mac, is simply wear your watch. Your Mac will identify that you're wearing your watch and unlock automatically for you. A really important feature of the iPhone is the ability to check in with a trusted contact to let them know that you're heading to a specific location and alert them if you fail to get to that location by the time that you're supposed to. Unfortunately, this feature doesn't yet exist on the Apple Watch, but there is a feature that's almost as good if you're out somewhere and you suddenly feel like you want to share your location with someone. Open Messages on your watch, head to a chat with the trusted contact that you want to share your location with, and tap the App Store button to the left of Message. The little green orb icon is your way of sharing your location. You would press share on the next page to begin sharing your location, or you can use this to request that the other person share their location with you. If you choose share, you can choose to do this for an hour, until the end of the day, or for an indefinite period of time. A feature on the Apple Watch that I always forget about but is really useful is the ability to mute notifications from a specific app for an hour. For example, I'm in a few WhatsApp group chats and they have a habit of going quiet for ages and then suddenly getting really busy, usually when I'm in the middle of something. Or the security cameras that we have at the front of our house. Every time that my wife and I go out to load or unload the car, we get bombarded with notifications. The way that I typically deal with this is going into the relevant app and manually muting everything, but there is a much quicker way of dealing with this. When you're getting bombarded with notifications on your watch, simply swipe down from the top of your main watch screen to access notifications, then swipe from right to left on one of the offending notifications. Tap the ellipsis button and then choose mute for 1 hour. That particular app will now be muted for an hour. So there you go, 12 tips and tricks for the Apple Watch that I think most watch owners don't know about. What about you? How many of these did you know? And are there any tips that you think I should have included instead? Drop me a comment and let me know. And as ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving me a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. See you on the next video.